Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 17 betas start next week, and we're expecting more than originally thought. So I thought we'd go over what we know based on reliable leaks and what we want as well. Now, as far as supported devices, we don't know this 100%. Apple has not said officially what they're going to support, and multiple people have leaked that some devices will be supported, and then others have said that they won't. So what we know now is currently iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and iPhone 10 may or may not get support. So at this point, it looks like there's no reason to doubt that it would get support, but if Apple needs more processing power for the upcoming features in iOS 17, they could drop support entirely for the iPhone 10, 8, and 8 Plus. But again, until Monday, we won't know that at all. Now, as far as new features go, well, we have some to go over that we know exactly will be in iOS 17 and some that we don't. The first thing is we know 100% that accessibility features will be there. So in 3 days, 1 hour and 57 minutes from the time of this recording, you'll see Apple will introduce new features for cognitive accessibility along with live speech, personal voice, and point and speak and magnifier. Apple announced this last week or so, and this is actually features that will be in iOS 17. So different changes to the interface to make it easier for those that need easier buttons to press or just a larger interface in general. There'll be changes as well to voice, and where you're talking to someone, it can actually replicate your voice so that people can hear what you have to say even if you're unable to speak it easily. It's supposed to be secure and contained completely on the device. You'll also have the option to use your magnifier to sort of look at different objects. And in this example, it's a microwave, and you can move your finger and it uses the LiDAR sensor to show you what you're pointing at and explain what it is you're pointing at. So that's something that I can't wait to try out, see what it's like, and see how well it actually works. So Apple's already announced that. They've already announced iMessage contact key verification as well as a security update. Now, many of us thought we'd see this with iOS 16.5. It was in 16.6 betas, but probably will be out with iOS 17, possibly before, but we do know that feature is coming. So what that means is if someone texts you, if they're in your contact list, it can verify that you're actually talking to the person in your contact list, and it's not someone trying to fake who they are to talk to you. So it's something that adds another level of security, and there's a whole paper on this on Apple's website that I'll link in the description. Now, Mark Gurman's been one of the more reliable leakers when it comes to iOS year after year. Typically, as we get closer to WWDC and see the next version, he's pretty spot on as far as what's coming to the next iOS. And this time around, he's saying that when your phone is not in use and it's in landscape, it could have sort of a home hub look. This is a concept I made. I showed in a different video, but basically it would show you different information such as your notifications, the weather, as well as maybe the date and time, and also calendar events, and hopefully some home controls. And this would make for a great home hub, especially on iPad. If maybe you have an older iPad, you want to use it to control your home, but also see regular information, this would be a great setup. And again, I just made this concept as an idea of what it could look like, but basically this would be something that I would really be happy to see on an iPad, as it seems to be lacking from Apple. So maybe we could see that. And there's been recent rumors, or in the past rumors as well, about HomePods having a screen on them, similar to what we have with Amazon or Google. So maybe we'll have something like that in the future as well. And while we expect the hub mode for the lock screen, we also expect some changes to customizations of the lock screen itself with wallpaper, maybe some changes in font and more. So if you go to customize, maybe we'll have some differences here. Some people have said that we'll have more font colors or options and different widgets available. Hopefully we'll see that. And also I would love to see some of the changes they've brought to the Pride wallpaper with animations. It recognizes light and dark mode now, and it's something that I think they need to bring back, as many people really miss the ability to have light and dark mode wallpapers. So we want this not just in this wallpaper, but many others as well, where it would just have those options built right in. Now, Apple is also said to be working on changes to the Wallet app. Wallet right now is packed with a bunch of features, but it seems disorganized. If we go into Wallet, right now you just have a bunch of different cards. You can add your cards and they're all on one screen. Apple could be changing this up so that it actually divides things a little bit better, helps you organize them, and if you're adding something like a driver license or state ID, you could have separate sections for them. So that's something that I would expect to see an update on, and we also expect an update with Find My as well. What that is specifically, we don't know. As Mark Gurman said, location service enhancements. So maybe more accuracy, maybe it will work better with things such as AirTags. And we also know 100% that Apple's working with people like Google to try and make this notify you if it's nearby and not your AirTag. So as far as Bluetooth tracking devices, they're trying to give more transparency into that if they're nearby and they're not your own device. So we know those sorts of features are coming. That makes sense that Apple would enhance Find My, maybe add some different tabs, or maybe additional enhancements we're not expecting. We're also expecting some changes with SharePlay. Now, SharePlay is something that you either love or don't use at all. I actually don't use it, but you can use it to share different videos with people. Maybe you're watching Apple TV Plus and you're sharing that video and watching it at the same time with someone else. There should be enhancements with that. More enhancements maybe with more apps and different applications with FaceTime and more. So maybe you'll be able to activate it differently. Also, AirPlay is said to get enhancements to work with different televisions, things like that currently support it, but maybe are a little buggy, or maybe it will just come to things we didn't expect. So I use AirPlay all the time, and I would love to see that along with enhancements to AirDrop as well. So AirDrop's great, but I would love to see some speed enhancements as we get Wi-Fi speeds that are faster and faster. So maybe we'll see all of those, and we're definitely expecting at least some of those changes. We're also expecting the next gen of Apple CarPlay. This is something Apple showed off last year with iOS 16 and is starting to roll out to things such as the Lincoln Nautilus coming in 2024. We should see that, hopefully a redesigned interface on the iPhone when you're attaching it to a different car, and maybe it'll be more customizable and you'll be able to update it with whatever you want. So I would love to see that. It should integrate with different gauges and vehicles and much more. Now, of course, there's a couple new apps we're expecting, or changes as well, and one of them you've probably heard of already, and that is journaling. There should be a new journaling app similar to what we have with Day One, and there's Day One. Day One allows you to journal, but according to different sources, they're saying that this journaling app will use information caught by the phone, whether that's your location, maybe photos you've taken for the day, and make a journal out of those. Of course, you could opt out of this, probably uninstall the app or not use it at all, but it should have features where it can journal for you and maybe suggest things to journal about. Maybe it sees that you went on a vacation, you took a bunch of pictures, it puts them in sort of a collage in photos, and also lets you add them to a journal. I would love to see something like that that sort of helps you keep track of a day. Maybe you went somewhere that was unexpected and you want it to sort of keep track of that. That would be great. It could be private and all on the phone. Of course, you could opt out, like I said. Of course, one other thing that could be helpful is a new mood tracking option within the Health app. Apple is said to be working on mood tracking for the Health app that would incorporate that here. So maybe you're having a tough time with something, depression or something else, you could keep track of that and see how it changes and progresses over time, so you have a record of that. That seems like something that would be a good fit for the Health app, but maybe will be a separate app. That's the part we're not really sure about, but you would have not just mindfulness, but maybe it would go along with your mood as well. One thing I hope they bring everywhere is app sideloading. This is said to be coming to the EU or European Union to comply with laws where they'd actually have to allow you to install different apps, not just in the App Store, but outside of the App Store, like you can on a Mac. So I don't see a problem with this, but you would of course not have to do it, but it's something that you would have the option for, and hopefully we do see that. But apparently it will only be in the EU to start, so maybe we'll see that more widespread after that, but either way, they have to comply with those laws, so they could have side loading. But maybe we'll have third-party app stores to go along with that and much more. We're also expecting enhanced use of the dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. All iPhone 15 models are said to be getting the dynamic island, and if that's the case, well, then they're going to expand features here. Maybe it will be expandable notifications in that area, or possibly just small changes with different apps utilizing that, whether it be weather or photos or something else. But we should see more features use that instead of Apple getting rid of it. However, in a few years, they may get rid of it, so we'll have to see what they do with it. As far as wants and predictions, well, quite a few people are saying that the control center is going to get an update. I would love to see the old style control centers that slide up from the bottom, or maybe something that's more customizable so that we don't have just a grid that it forces us to have. Maybe we could customize Wi-Fi to fully turn it off, same with Bluetooth, or just have different options to change it altogether. Either way, I'd love to see some sort of change to the control center. I've never been a huge fan of this version, and it seems very cluttered, even though you can remove some some of these things, we can't really rearrange them too much. So I would love to see that change. Also, I know a lot of people would love to see interactive widgets. Currently, we have the weather widgets and music, but we can't do anything with them, and I would love to see that change. So hopefully we'll see something like that, what that would be like. This widget in particular, this is a weather widget. You can't do anything with it but go into a weather app. Then you can interact with it. It'd be great to be able to interact with it right here. Also, one thing I think most people want is split view multitasking. That's probably the number one thing I hear from people that they want for iOS 17. Go into an app, maybe it's Safari or something else, maybe go into multitasking and be able to bring that into a separate window just like you can on an iPad. I don't really see a reason for not being able to do this other than having to resize the window and do something there, but that I think most people would really like. And then finally, the option to rearrange your icons wherever you want. Customization, changes there, and also new icons is what I would love to see. Personally, I'm sick of these flat icons. I would like to see them match maybe the Mac, or maybe have something all new altogether. As far as iPadOS, we haven't really heard a whole lot. In fact, one of the main leakers has sort of disappeared off of Twitter, and it seems there could be some enhancements to iPad. What that could be is better support for monitor. Now that we have Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, we could have some enhanced monitor support, as currently when you plug this into maybe a studio display, it only allows you to see Final Cut Pro in a windowed state inside the larger monitor. So you don't get the full screen like you do here, you get this screen windowed on the monitor itself. That needs to be updated, hopefully multiple monitor support, additional drive support, and much more. So those are the things I think we'll see on iPad, but we really haven't heard much about it. I would love to see the ability to move icons around, clean this up a little bit, instead of just being an iPhone grid, be something that sort of falls into its own category. So maybe we'll see some big enhancements with it. I would really hope so, and I would love to see this basically turn into a Mac when you plug it in, since it has the full capability with the M2 processor now. So we don't really know. It's been kind of quiet on that front. As far as watchOS, we're not hearing a whole lot other than it's getting a major redesign to focus on the watch itself. So these are things we're expecting. This should be one of the biggest WWDCs ever, and maybe I'll make a separate video covering everything to expect there before the event on Monday. So be sure to let me know which one you're looking most forward to as far as features. We're not really sure if iOS 17 will be much more than a stability update, but as far as features, that's what we expect so far. Let me know your thoughts about iOS 17 in the comments below and what you'd like to see most. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.